The drama on this show seemed to be non-stop, and truth be told, I am loving it. So let's discuss the seventh episode of the Real Housewives of Lagos season 3. And I am Loba. On here, I do movie reviews and reality TV shows conversation. So let's get started. So it's literally after Dabota had actually hosted the ladies, and we all know that some of the ladies are not fine with the fact that Dabota did not host them so well. But for this review, I think I'll just discuss the cast on the show, just one after the other. And to start with, I'm starting with Caroline for this episode because I think there's so much with Caroline this episode, and there is something most of us need to know. Caroline seemed to be an interesting personality on the show, but I think there is something hypocritical about her. And also the fact that she seemed to have a lot to say about Diadem. And those things she had been saying seem to be like a reflection of herself. Let's get into it. So I think for the very first season where she was on this show, she was very loyal to Choma Good Air. And I think they were like just like that. So I think it's almost the same thing herself and Choma Good Air did reflected. That's what Dabota and Diadem are also reflecting on the show. So let me discuss the Caroline and Dabota somewhat drama this episode. So Caroline is bringing the issue of Dabota not having to eat from what she had served her. But I think what many people should understand, what my question is that why did Caroline not raise this issue earlier this season? Why is she bringing it up? Because herself and Dabota already have some back and forth, or she has some reservation for Dabota. Also, Caroline seems to be like, oh, she don't want to be in any party. She wants to stay kind of like to an extent she acted that way. She wasn't taking side. But to an extent also, it seems as though she is in support of whatsoever Sophia has done. I just feel like probably she should have raised the issue of AE and not and whatnot earlier and not now. I don't know if that's making sense. Then the next thing I want to discuss is Dabota. I like the fact that Dabota was so mature not to kind of be dramatic about it and just explain it and all of that, and they were cool. So let's discuss the Diadem this season. Caroline seems to have issue with the Diadem, and she has so much to say about the Diadem, and she's getting to forget that this issue she seems to have with the Diadem, it's not really a matter. It does not really have so much to do with her because herself and Mariam had that conversation, and she made it clear that she's not as pissed as Mariam were. But when they had to confront the other, Mariam took herself out of the situation and it was all about Caroline. And with the back and forth they had, Caroline had to she's still going on and on about Diadem. And now it's not as if she's getting to realize that Mariam just set her up into having issue with Diadem, which she would have ordinarily not have. I don't know if that's making sense. And no, she's coming for Diadem. Moreover, everything she have to say about Diadem seems to be like a reflection of her. If she had actually decided to be an individual, she's not taking side and whatnot, she would have not been in this situation where she's having issue with Diadem because the person who had made her be in that situation is out of it. And she's cool with Diadem. So that is it for Caroline. So let's discuss Miriam. I have been seeing a lot of comments where people are like, Miriam is two-faced, Miriam is this and that. But I think one thing I would do this season is to really support the people who seem to be like the villain of the show. Because if these people are not really putting out this kind of evil attitude or character we may call it, I think the drama and the spiciness and pettiness that come with the show will not exist. So that is all for Miriam, and there's not so much of Miriam this episode. Then let's discuss Dabota. Dabota seems to be one cast on the show many people are always coming for, but you guys should forget that she's really bringing the drama, and somehow she is giving every other cast you feel like you are enjoying their personality on the show. She's giving them the clout and the ability to have relevance on the show. Yes, because if you're claiming Sophia is good, I really enjoy Sophia on the show, but Sophia cannot make the show all alone. That's one thing. And for this episode, we get to see another part of Dabota, and I was discussing with a reviewer of reality TV show Jam, and she told me that it seemed as though to her Dabota is faking it and she's kind of having this personality which is not really hers. But I think so far for having a cast like Sophia on the show had made us see other part of Dabota. I mean, we've seen Dabota go all out. Her real voice is coming out, and I think I really loved her energy when she did meet with her friend A. It's actually very different and interesting to see. I hope we can see that kind part of Dabota more on the show. So let's discuss Laura. You know, one thing that Caroline is failing to do. That is one thing Laura has been consistent with since season two. Laura has decided to be more sensible and, she's not really taking side. In as much as she's been fed a lot about Dabota and Diadem, she did not really let that affect how she relates with these people. Obviously, her situation and the way she feels about Dabota is the same mutual, and they are respectful about it, and it's making sense. And you can see that Laura is just this happy person you would love to see on the show, and she's unproblematic. And I love the fact that she's not really getting into too much of the drama, but I think she's really doing so much not to be in the drama. So that's that for Laura. Which other cast on the show have I not discussed? Then the other. For this episode, we saw Diadem had a lot of story about her boyfriend getting a car and whatnot. And I would like to probably know more about this, but there's one thing I am feeling about this Diadem story. I just hope it's like very authentic one. It should not be like another kind of Choma story we saw on the show. Choma, the first season, she was calling this man, and second season, like a lot of questioning with the man Choma brought to the show. So I just hope the Adam's own is authentic. I think this is all I'll be discussing for the 7th episode of the Real Housewives of Lagos season 3. Bye.